My name is Arielle Sun, and I bake storms for a living. Not the angry kind, though, we'll get there, but the kind that curl like galaxies in buttercream, swirls of mango and hibiscus, a lightning strike of yuzu curd, a dusting of edible glitter that catches the window light and refuses to let go. In Portland, that passes for weather. It's October, the season when rain murmurs against the windows like a friend who knows all your secrets. The Alberta Arts District is damp and lemon-scented from the cleaner I insist on using after every rush. My bakery, Sun and Spoon, is a bright rectangle between a record shop and a tattoo studio. White tile, brass shelves, an old espresso machine with a temper that matches mine. At 5:14 a.m., I pipe a spiral of guava buttercream onto a vanilla crumb so tender it sighs when I touch it. "These look illegal," says Liv, my line cook and chaos twin, sliding a tray beside mine. "Like, if the cops show up, I'm gonna eat the evidence." "Please do," I say. "Tell them you were under duress." We grin at each other, and for a moment the world is sugar and quiet ambition. I turn the next cupcake, angle the piping bag, and finish it with a comet tail of passion fruit glaze. The sunburst. My sunburst. It was a TikTok accident, honestly. A month ago, I posted a video of me, galaxy swirling, the frosting with a bamboo skewer, and a prayer for rent money. It hit 3 million views in 2 days. People lined down the block, food tourists came in with suitcases. Influencers dimmed their ring lights against the rain and filmed me with trembling hands like I was composing a sonata. I felt like I'd been chosen. After years of 1 a.m. markets, 6-burner hustle, and failed leases, the universe finally turned its face toward me. At 6:07 a.m., I make the mistake of checking my phone. Ari?" Liv says, when she sees my face. "You look like the batter when it curdles." There it is on my feed, pinned by an ad, the kind with the crisp white borders and a soundtrack that thinks it's cool. Aurora Bites. The cupcake trend that's taking America by storm. I tap the sound off so fast it's almost violent. A cascade of shots, hands in nitrile gloves, piping what might as well be my signature swirl, a matching comet tail, same colors, same teas of tropical flavors, even the gold flecks glitter the same way. Like someone pulled a screen grab from my video, handed it to a stylist, and said, "Make this, but generic." The brand seal flashes at the end. Bramble & Co. Bake Shops. Of course. Bramble & Co. has a flagship downtown with walls the color of new money. They're the masters of artisanal at scale, the kind of place that sells nostalgia in recyclable clamshells and calls it community. Their CEO pops up on business podcasts to talk about elevating little guy flavors to national audiences with a smile that doesn't know how to be sorry. My thumbs are shaking. I read the caption again, certain I'm hallucinating. "After months of development, Aurora Bites are finally here," the post says. Hand-swirled tropical frosting, a burst of citrus curd, and a dusting of stardust, exclusively at Bramble & Co. Hand-swirled, burst of curd. Stardust. They didn't just copy the cupcake, they copied the story. Liv swears softly. No, they didn't. I scroll. The comments are a mix of flame emojis and people tagging friends in other cities. "Oh my god, we're getting these in Seattle. Gimme that galaxy frosting, I'm feral." I saw a girl in Portland do this last week. There's someone tagged me. Then another. Then 10 more. It's a tide. The room tilts. I set down the piping bag, because if I don't, I'm going to crush it like a throat. I feel my chest tighten in that familiar way, my body's old alarm system, honed during a childhood of, "We're moving again, and we can't afford that, baby." The system that says, "Hold still, duck, make yourself smaller." "Hey," Liv says, gentler now. "Sit." I don't sit. I open the video again, slowing it frame by frame. It's the same motion I've been doing since culinary school, when I couldn't afford the fancy turntable and learned to make spirals with a wobbly hand and stubbornness. My spiral leans left, like a girl who laughs too hard. Their spiral leans left. This is the part where someone tells me it's coincidence, that a swirl is just a swirl, that citrus curd has been bursting since lemons were invented. But I know my work. I know the ratio of acid to sweet, the way I offset guava's perfume with lime zest, the exact flick I do with my wrist that makes the comet tail curl like a wink. This isn't coincidence. This is theft. The oven timer goes off. In the silence, after all I can hear is the rain. I pull the trays, muscle memory carrying me while my mind sprints with 1,000 thoughts. Call a lawyer. You can't afford a lawyer. Post about it. Don't post. They'll crush you. Make more. Sell out. Beat them at their game. You're one person with 2 mixers. By 7 a.m., we've frosted triple our usual volume for a Friday. The storefront is a sitcom set of neon umbrellas, hoods, easy laughter that doesn't know we're on fire. Customers file in, and the bell becomes a metronome. You're famous, a college kid says, breathless. We saw your video on my For You page, and then, this other video of these, bite things? Aurora bites, I say, tasting the trademark like a pill without water. Bramble and Co. Yeah, are you collabing with them? My mouth goes dry. Not exactly. He buys 4 sunbursts anyway, and I smile like my face remembers how. The register dings. Another customer asks if we'll ship nationwide. Someone else wants to propose to their girlfriend with a sunburst on top of a mini cake shaped like Saturn. And I say yes because saying yes is easier than screaming. At 10:22 a.m., my phone vibrates with a new email. Subject line: Notice of Intellectual Property Rights. I click with a dread so intense it tastes metallic. Dear Miss Sun, we are counsel to Bramble & Co. Bake Shops. It has come to our attention that you have been marketing and selling a product confusingly similar to our Aurora Bites, including distinctive design elements and trade dress proprietary to our client. We hereby demand that you immediately cease and desist from the further manufacture, distribution, and sale of this product. The letters blur. My palms sweat. Are you kidding me? Liv says, reading over my shoulder because privacy died somewhere between hashtags and hustle culture. They copied you, and now they're calling dibs. The email goes on to list specifics that make my bones ache. Swirled frosting in tropical colors, central cavity filled with citrus curd, decorative glitter dust, resemblance to auroral patterns, likelihood of consumer confusion. Likelihood of confusion. I look at the case of sunbursts, glowing like a constellation we iced ourselves into believing. My throat tightens, not the alarm system kind, the grief kind. I think about the nights I slept on a flour sack, using my hoodie for a pillow. The days I worked double shifts at the hotel kitchen and used my 10-minute break to pipe lines on eclairs while my chef yelled that my lines were crooked. I think about my mom, texting me pictures of the first logo I scribbled on a napkin, about my ex who said, "It's cute, babe, but you'll burn out," and then did me the favor of burning out first. Do I have the energy for a fight? Do I have a choice? The bell rings. "Hey, Ari," says a woman in a black trench, shaking rain off like silk. Her hair is the executive kind, precise and expensive. "I love your place." "Thanks," I say, waiting for her to ask for a dozen and a discount because she might post about it. She smiles like a knife. "I'm Ava. I handle local partnerships for Bramble & Co." Liv's spatula stops midair. Ava takes in my tiny kingdom like she's assessing square footage on Zillow. "You built a vibe," she says. "It's impressive." "You have nerve," Liv mutters. Ava ignores her. "We're opening 10 Aurora pop-up kiosks across the city next week," she says, sliding a card across the counter with manicured fingers. "I'd hate for something as small as confusion to cause issues for you. Perhaps we can talk about a mutually beneficial arrangement." My body goes very still. The alarm system clamps down. The anger tries to push past it. "An arrangement," I say, because I want to hear her say it. "Licensing," she says, all honey. "You get to say you inspired a national sensation. We handle production. You get a stipend, some PR love. Win-win. Win-win." My laughter catches in my throat and comes out as a small, sharp sound. I pick up the card. Ava's eyes flick to the case of sunbursts, then back to my face. "And Just to be clear, until this is settled, we expect you'll stop selling anything that resembles Aurora Bites. Trademark is tricky, but litigation is exhausting. Tricky, I repeat. Exhausting, she says, still smiling. You're talented, Arielle. Don't derail your future over a swirl. She leaves the words on the counter like crumbs. I watch her walk out into the rain and open a black umbrella that pops like a threat. Liv turns to me, eyes wide. We're not taking that, right? My pulse is a drum solo in my neck. I look at the morning's rack of sunbursts, at the little galaxy I built with sugar and stubbornness. I think about my clients, their birthdays and breakups, the letters they sent when their dads went into hospice, and the only thing they could eat was my soft vanilla cake because grief makes your throat small. I think about the teens who saved up allowance to buy a single cupcake and shared it, wordlessly, in the corner, like communion. I turn the card over. On the back, in Ava's neat pen, she's added, "Offer expires Sunday at 5 p.m. A countdown, a dare. There's a thunderclap, far away, or maybe just something in me finally breaking open. I slide the open sign to closed. Customers murmur. The rain punctuates everything. Liv looks at me, searching my face for the plan I haven't said out loud. The plan I'm terrified is bigger than me. I swallow, the taste of citrus and fight rising in my mouth. Lock the door, I say. Liv blinks. What are we doing? I lift my phone, open the camera, and flip it to face me. My reflection is raw-cheeked, apron dusted, eyes darker than I remember. I take a breath that feels like stepping into traffic. "Hi," I say, and hit record. The bell jangles anyway, someone tugging the locked door from outside. Not a customer. A man in a charcoal suit, rain streaming off his shoulders, holding a stack of papers thick enough to be trouble. He lifts them, presses them flat against the glass, and mouths the word that empties the room of air. "Summons." My finger hovers over post as he knocks again. And behind him, down the block, a familiar green and white sign I haven't seen in this neighborhood before flickers to life. Bramble & Co., pop-up opening today. I don't post the video right away. I hold the phone like it's a detonator, thumb over the red button, while the man in the charcoal suit keeps knocking like rain with elbows. Liv mouths, "Do not open." I don't. He slides the stack through the mail slot we use for invoices and love notes. It hits the floor with a fat, papery thud. Summons. Injunction request. The kind of words that turn your stomach into a drum. "Okay," I whisper, to no one and to everything. "Okay." I prop the phone on a flower bin and hit record again. "Hi," I say, my voice steadier than I feel. "I'm Arielle, owner of Sun and Spoon in Portland. Some of you might know me from the Sunburst cupcakes. Today I found out a national chain launched a very familiar product. They also sent me a cease and desist and a summons." I hold up the papers. My hands don't shake on camera, and that feels like a small miracle. "I'm not a lawyer," I say. "I'm a baker. I don't have PR. I have a piping bag and rent due on the 1st. But I'm not going to let a giant company copyright my wrist." I swallow. The words land somewhere between earnest and fury, and I let them sit there. If you've ever had one of my cupcakes, if I've ever made your birthday a little better or your breakup a little softer, I need you. Share this. Tag me. Tell me what Sun and Spoon has meant to you. And keep an eye out. We're not closing. I glance at the locked door, the man finally giving up, walking away under his wet umbrella like a punctuation mark. We're getting louder. It is not about the finder. And we're getting louder. In the stayed, underfind the brand. Carrying into the finder. It is not about the brand him. And anyone colors in a part of the finder, and like finder. 80 will go in the lauder. I hit post. It goes like lightning through a dry forest. Not instantly, not the Hollywood way. But my notifications start to crawl, then sprint. Ping, ping, ping. The sound of digital footsteps running toward me. Liv exhales like she's been holding her breath for a year. "You just went full Aaron Brockabake. Don't ever say that again," I say. But I'm smiling, which I didn't think was possible today. We reopen. Not the door, just the register. A line forms anyway, people pressing their palms to the glass, showing me their phones like communion wafers. I saw. I'm here. I got you. At noon, Mason from the record shop next door brings over a battered speaker and asks if he can play a protest playlist. He cues up Beyoncé and a lot of women with guitars, and the bass turns the tile into a heartbeat. At 1, Ro from the tattoo studio rolls in a cart of black coffee and paper cups. On me, they say, fuel for the revolution. At 2, my mom calls from California and starts with, Ari, are you safe? Which makes me almost cry. Then, I told you since you were 5 you weren't meant to be quiet. Which makes me actually cry, just a little. Into the phone, between customers. By 3, there's a knock I do open for. A woman in a denim jacket, damp bangs, a press badge clipped to her pocket. I'm Juno, she says. Freelance food writer. Also, I owe you for saving my sister's wedding cake. Can I talk to you? 5 minutes, I say, because frosting waits for no one, and also because I'm scared if I stop moving, the fear will catch up and sit on my chest. We talk in the back, amid the hum of mixers and the smell of sugar going soft around the edges. They're saying they developed it for months, Juno says, flipping open a notebook. You posted the sunburst video 4 weeks ago. Sweetie, I say, because I am tired and 40% audacity now. They developed copy and paste in elementary school. She snorts. Can I quote that? Please do. She looks at the summons. She looks at my hands, which are dusted with glitter like I fought a unicorn and lost. What's the plan? She asks. I open my mouth to say, I don't know. Because that's the truth. Instead, what comes out is, I'm going to tell my story louder than they can sell theirs. She arches a brow. How? The answer hits me like a spark catching a wick. On the boxes, I say. On every single box. Juno's smile is feline. That's good. We'll print the truth, I say, already moving, adrenaline turning to logistics. My name. The timeline. The recipe, not the measurements but the soul of it, what it took. Every box leaves here with a story. Liv sticks her head in. We have a problem, she says. We're out of boxes. Of course we are. I tell Ro. Ro tells Mason. Mason texts a group chat called Alberta District Drama Llamas. 10 minutes later, a bike courier named Grim Real Name appears with 3 cases of plain white bakery boxes scavenged from a cafe that went out of business last summer. I call a local print shop. A man named Felix answers and says, My niece loves your guava thing, so yes, I can have a rush order by tomorrow morning. Today? I say. Please, I'll pay whatever. Pause. What's the story? He asks. I tell him. I don't have time to be shy about it. He listens the way people do when a story makes something in their chest stand up. I'll run it now, he says. Come by in 30. We mock up a design on my laptop with fingers and caffeine. The front says, in block letters, this is a sunburst. I swirled this frosting for years before anyone watched. A big company tried to rename my wrist. Please read before eating. The back is a short letter, my letter about nights on flour sacks and mornings like this one, about a swirl that leans left and a burst of curd like a heartbeat. At the bottom, number, real sunburst. It's corny. It's also perfect. Liv's eyes shine. I could kiss you. Please wash your hands first, I say, because we are still a bakery. We switch to plain boxes in the meantime, writing the hashtag by hand with a Sharpie. People take photos of the scrawl like it's art. Outside, across the street, brambles pop up blooms like mold. White tent, green logo, lines of curious people who don't know better yet. Ava stands by the entrance. Umbrella closed now, face slick with victory. We prop our door open and let the rain perfume the room. I set a milk crate by the window and stand on it with a megaphone Mason dug out of his back room. Attention, pastry people, I yell, cheeks hot. If you're here for the real sunburst, I'm Arielle. Hi. If you're in that line across the street, no shade. please know that the recipe they're selling came from my hands. I can't outspend them. I can outstory them. Ask me anything. I'll answer while I frost. Someone cheers. Someone else yells, I love you, Ari, which makes me laugh and almost fall off the crate. We do. Ask me anything. Cupcake edition. Right there at the counter. People ask why guava. Because it tastes like my grandma's backyard in June. Why glitter? Because joy should show. Whether we can ship, soon, God willing, and the permits don't fail us. It's noisy and chaotic, and feels like a tiny revolution that smells like vanilla. By 5, Juno's article is live. The headline is aflame, Arielle versus Goliath, how a Portland baker is being eaten alive. The comments section turns into a block party. Someone starts a Reddit thread. Someone else DMs me a lawyer who does IP for indie creators and rides a fixed gear bike, which feels very Portland and also promising. By 7, Felix from the print shop shows up with the first run of boxes in the back of his Subaru. He and his niece carry them in like they're lifting a banner at a parade. We stayed late, he says, shrugging, which means we chose sides. I tear open a pack and pull out a box. My story is there, in black ink and stubborn letters, and it looks like armor. We load sunbursts into the boxes and hand them out. People stop in the doorway and read. Some of them cry. Not big tears, just the kind that happen when the world says, I see you. For once. Across the street, Bramble's line gets shorter. A woman in a raincoat returns from the pop-up with a green and white box. She opens it, looks at the tidy swirl inside, then at mine, the left-leaning laugh, the comet tail like a wink. She closes the green box and asks for 6 sunbursts. It's not the same, she says. Yours tastes like a person. I take that into my chest and hold it there like a lamp. The lawyer DMs again. Her name is May. She wants to meet tonight. I say, come now, because time feels like a tunnel narrowing. May arrives at 8, soaked, hair in a bun that looks like efficiency. She shakes my hand, scans the summons, flips pages like she's seeing a familiar enemy, and says, they're bluffing hard. Trade dress is slippery, and you have first use. I don't have money for a retainer, I say, because honesty is cheaper than panic. We'll figure it out, she says. There's a fund. Also, public pressure helps. Keep telling your story. Everything in writing. Screenshot everything they post. And for the love of guava, don't sign anything. No deals? I ask. No deals, she says. Like a vow. We huddle over the counter and map out the next 48 hours between orders. May drafts a response to the cease and desist that is so sharp I want to bake it a cake. Juno texts me that her piece is being syndicated. Liv schedules more staff. Ro sketches a flash tattoo sheet of tiny left-leaning swirls that say "Sun's Out" underneath. Mason volunteers to host a cupcakes and copies vinyl night with all proceeds to legal fees. It feels like standing in a river that just found its mouth. At 9:30, the lights flicker. We all look up. Oh no, Liv says. The storm. The lights go out. The room exhales. For a terrifying second, the only illumination is our phone screens, a constellation of rectangles blinking on like fireflies. Don't move, I say, ridiculous, because where would we go? The emergency lights kick in, dull red, turning the sugar into something haunted. Across the street, Bramble's tent glows like a spaceship. Their generator hums. Their line grows again. People lured by light. They planned for this, Liv says, voice tight. Of course they did. We have candles from a wedding tasting. We have lighters. We have determination with frosting. We set candles along the case until it looks like a shrine. The room warms. The cupcakes glitter like stars pretending to be holy. Outside, people drift toward us, drawn by the warmth, by the sign on the door. We're still here. I climb back on the crate in the glow and lift my voice. If you need light, I say, come in. If you bought theirs because they were lit up, no shame, trade for one of mine. Free. Liv's head snaps. Free? Free for anyone who shows me a green box, I say, and a few people look guilty and then relieved and then grateful in that order, which is my favorite order. We trade box for box. We stuff brambles neatly into a trash bag we'll repurpose. We hand out mine. The story printed bold, lit by candlelight. A boy reads the back out loud to his mother, quiet, like a bedtime story. A woman gives me a hug that says, I know this fight. May squeezes my shoulder. You're turning this into a movement. I'm turning it into dinner, I say, handing a sunburst to a man who looks like he hasn't eaten all day, because he says he camped in the rain for their opening and didn't get in. At 10, the rain slows to a mist that smells like clean beginnings. At 10:30, a truck pulls up to the curb, like a shark in shallow water. The driver hops out in a branded jacket I recognize too well. Bramble & Co. He unloads 3 pallets wrapped in plastic. Boxes. So many boxes. Felix's face goes pale next to me. That's the company I order cardboard from, he says. They don't deliver at night. Unless someone bought out the city, May says, voice low. The driver checks a clipboard and heads straight for our door. He stops just inside the threshold, rain puddling around his boots, and hands me a piece of paper. Delivery for Sun and Spoon, he says. I blink at him. I didn't. It's already paid, he says, by the sender. I tear the plastic on the first pallet with a box cutter that's suddenly a blade in a movie. Inside is not blank cardboard. It's green and white, Bramble branded boxes, hundreds, maybe thousands. Atop the stack, there's a note in a hand I recognize. Ava's. Since you're running low, it reads. Thought we'd help. My chest goes ice cold. Behind me, the candles waver. Across the street, their generator hums like a dare, and from the back alley, I hear the sudden, unmistakable wail of a health inspector's siren. The health inspector's siren cuts through the rain like a blade. Everyone in the bakery freezes. Even the mixer seems to stop mid-whir. Liv whispers, "Oh, come on." The door swings open, and a woman in a soaked windbreaker steps in, flashing a clipboard like a weapon. Her badge gleams under the candlelight. "Evening," she says, scanning the room. "I'm here to respond to a report of unsanitary conditions at Sun and Spoon." A report. I meet May's eyes across the counter. She mouths, "Set up." Of course it is. I wipe my hands on my apron and force my voice to stay calm. "Sure thing. You'll have to forgive the ambiance, we lost power." She gives a curt nod and starts the ritual. Thermometer out, flashlight beam slicing across countertops, eyes on sinks, drains, storage. Outside, through the front window, I can see Ava under her umbrella again, watching like it's a show she bought tickets for. The inspector lifts a cupcake from the case. The frosting wobbles in the candlelight. "This made with perishable ingredients?" "Yes. Guava puree, butter, eggs, everything refrigerated." "Fridge temperature?" I gesture toward the kitchen. "You can check. Generator's keeping it running." She walks in, flashlight flickering across the stainless steel. Liv and I follow, hearts in our throats. The fridge hums steady at 36 degrees. May watches from the door, arms crossed. "Everything looks compliant," the inspector admits. "You got power backup fast." "Community backup," I say. "You can thank half of Alberta Street." Her pen hovers. "There was a complaint about improper labeling." I hand her one of the new printed boxes. Allergens listed, date stamped, story included. She flips it over. Her brow furrows as she reads the back, the part about Bramble, stealing my recipe. When she looks up, her face has changed. "They filed this complaint, didn't they?" I don't answer. I don't have to. She sighs. "Everything checks out. I'll close the call." Then, quieter. "Between you and me, don't let them scare you. We see this all the time." I want to hug her, but professionalism exists. "Thank you." She leaves. The door shuts behind her, siren echo fading into drizzle. Liv exhales so hard her glasses fog. "I aged 10 years. May rubs her temple. "They're escalating." That's intimidation tactic number 1. Paper. Then, pressure. "What's number 2? I ask. "Public smear," May says. "Give it 12 hours. She's wrong. It takes 3. By midnight, Bramble's official Instagram posts a glossy video. Arielle Sun spreads false claims about our Aurora bites. We support small creators but will not tolerate harassment or defamation. They turn me into a villain in 40 seconds clips of my video, spliced between shots of their clean labs and smiling staff. Text overlay. Integrity baked in. The comments explode. Half defend me, half call me a liar. I scroll until my eyes sting. She's jealous. She didn't trademark it. You can't own a swirl. I throw the phone onto the counter. It buzzes again immediately. It's Juno, the journalist. Her message: "You're trending. Don't hide. Own it." I text back. "How? They've got production crews. I've got candles." She replies with a single line: "Turn the cameras toward the truth." I look around at my dim little shop, the boxes stacked like soldiers, the tired faces of Liv, Ro, Mason, my army, and then it hits me. "Liv," I say, "how fast can you set up the ring light?" We go live on TikTok. No edits, no script, just me standing behind the counter with frosting on my wrists and exhaustion under my eyes. "Hey everyone," I start. "If you saw Bramble's post, you probably think I'm some angry baker who can't handle competition. Let me show you something." I grab one of their green boxes, the one from the delivery truck, still sealed. I open it. Perfect swirl, corporate precise. I press a finger into the frosting. It's cold, flavorless, texture like grocery store plastic. Then I open one of mine. I slice it in half, showing the curd bleeding gold, alive. "This," I say, "is what they call confusion. What they call inspiration. But it's not. It's theft with better lighting." I tell the story again. Shorter this time. Angrier. Honest. I read the email aloud. I show the summons. I show the new boxes with the printed truth. Liv films from 2 angles. Ro's tattooed hands hold up cupcakes like exhibits. May stands just off camera in case I slip into something legally risky. When I finish, there's silence, the kind that feels like before a storm or after a truth. Then the comments start pouring in. Hearts, shares, duets. Bakers from Seattle, Austin, Chicago, London, posting their own stories. They stole from me too. Someone adds the hashtag number boycott Bramble. Someone else. Number biteback. By 2 a.m., it's trending. The next morning, Portland feels different. When I bike to the bakery, murals are being chalked on the sidewalk. "Sun and spoon forever. Let her bake. Don't steal the swirl." Cars honk as they pass. A barista down the block shouts, "Team Arielle." Inside, Liv's already piping frosting with a grin. "You're on Good Morning Oregon. They played your clip with the curd bleed." I groan. "Please tell me they didn't call it that." "They did," she says. "It's art now." The bell jingles. A man in his 50s, flannel shirt, construction boots. He holds out a folded 20. "Just wanted to say," he mutters. "I saw the video. My wife, she's a home baker," she cried. "Said you made her brave again." My throat tightens. "Tell her thank you." He nods, buys one sunburst, and leaves with it held like something sacred. At noon, May bursts through the door with a printout. I blink. "What?" She spreads papers across the counter. Screenshots, timestamps, metadata, all pulled by an internet archivist who follows my story. The earliest footage of an Aurora Byte prototype on Bramble's internal testing page, dated 2 days after my viral post. "They can't claim development before that," May says. "This is proof." Liv whoops. Mason pounds the counter like a drum. "So, what now?" I ask. "We file a counterclaim," May says, grinning for the first time. "And we leak this." I hesitate. "Leak? You sure?" "They weaponized public opinion," she says. "You just learned to aim it back." I nod. My pulse steadies. Let's bake and break the internet. By evening, Juno's second article hits. Receipts and Buttercream Bramble's original cupcake timeline doesn't add up. She embeds the metadata, my video, the paperwork. The headline is everywhere. Bramble disables comments. Their stock dips by 2% overnight. The world smells like sugar and victory. and it's dizzying. Until the knock. It's after closing. Rain again. Softer this time. Ava stands outside, umbrella dripping. No smile this time. I open the door because curiosity is a stronger drug than fear. You've made your point, she says, voice tight. Corporates in chaos, PRs losing sleep. But you don't know what you've started. Maybe something real, I say. Something dangerous, she corrects. You think you can weaponize community? They'll love you until the next scandal, then you're the villain again. I'm not here for fame, I say. I'm here for fairness. She exhales, fogging the glass. There's no fairness in food, Arielle. There's marketing. You can't outbake a machine. I look past her down the street, where Mason's record shop is blasting music, where people still linger eating sunbursts under umbrellas like a congregation. Watch me, I say. Ava's jaw tightens. They'll come harder. Lawsuits. Suppliers. They'll cut off your ingredients. She steps closer, voice low. They already started. What? She smirks. Check your next delivery. Then she turns, heels splashing through puddles, disappearing into the dark. I lock the door, stomach sinking. Liv looks at me. What did she say? I swallow. That we should check our next delivery. The next morning, the shipment from our main supplier arrives 2 crates instead of 10. Half the order cancelled due to contractual obligations. May reads the invoice and mutters, "They're freezing your supply chain." Rose slams a whisk on the counter. "We'll find new suppliers. Local ones." Mason grins. Time for the Alberta Alliance to rise. We spend the next day calling every farmer, market, and co-op in Oregon. Guava's hard to source locally, but we find alternatives. Plum, raspberry, rhubarb. People start donating fruit. Someone drops off 20 pounds of lemons with a sticky note that says, "Make them pucker." The next batch of cupcakes gleams pink instead of gold. We rename them Rebel Burst. The line outside doubles. A news anchor calls it a food movement. But that night, when I finally sit down with May's legal drafts, I find a new email waiting. From Ava Collins. Subject: Final offer, before we make this ugly. I open it. It's short. Arielle, take our licensing deal now. Tomorrow, we file a federal injunction blocking your use of the word burst in any product. You'll lose distribution, online platforms, and payment processing overnight. Think carefully. Ava. Liv reads over my shoulder. They can't do that, can they? May's face goes stone. They can try. I stare at the screen, pulse in my ears. And then, I see the timestamp on Ava's email, 10:42 p.m. Outside, the glow from across the street, their pop-up flares brighter. A delivery truck unloads something massive under tarps. Liv presses to the window. What is that? A gust of wind lifts a corner of the tarp. Beneath it, signs, banners, and a projection screen. A stage. She gasps. They're hosting an event? May checks her phone. A PR stunt. Their lawyers will announce the injunction live. I clench my jaw. Then we show up. Liv blinks. With what? I grab my apron, frosting stained and war-painted, with the truth and about 100 rebel bursts. Outside, thunder growls low, like applause waiting to happen. Tomorrow, Bramble goes public. So will I. The morning of the Aurora celebration dawns gray and swollen with rain. Portland smells like wet asphalt and anticipation. I haven't slept, not a second. I spent the night baking batch after batch of rebel bursts, pink as defiance, tart as rage. Liv snored on a sack of flour for an hour before bolting up and insisting on torching the meringue tops for drama. Mason brought coffee at 3 a.m. Roe inked a lightning swirl on my forearm that's still red and tender. And at 8:47 a.m., I'm standing across from Bramble's massive tent, my little army at my side. They've gone all out. Cameras, music. A branded stage framed by LED screens looping their shiny slogan, "Integrity baked in." There's even a red carpet lined with pastel cupcakes displayed like trophies. Liv mutters, "This looks like the Met Gala of food theft." I breathe deep. Let's make it memorable. We wheel out our cart, hand-painted overnight with "The Real Story" in dripping pink letters. 100 rebel bursts, boxed with my printed truth, stacked like ammunition. May's here too, trenchcoat buttoned, folder under her arm like a shield. "If this goes south," she says quietly, "let me talk. You don't have to say anything that can be used against you." "I've already said enough to burn bridges," I reply. "Might as well light the skyline." The crowd outside Bramble's tent is huge: reporters, influencers, curious locals, people holding up signs that read "Number Bite Back" and "Cupcake Justice." As we approach, cameras swing our way. Someone whispers my name, and suddenly, there's a ripple. "Arielle! That's her! The baker!" A few people cheer, some clap. I wasn't ready for the sound of it. It feels like standing in front of an oven door that's been heating for months and finally opens. Ava stands on the stage, microphone in hand, hair immaculate, expression carved from calm. She looks out over the crowd, then spots me. Her smile doesn't falter, but her shoulders stiffen. "Good morning, Portland," she says smoothly. "Thank you for celebrating the Aurora Bites, a celebration of creativity, craftsmanship, and community. We believe innovation should be shared, not hoarded." The word hoarded hits like a slap. Liv mutters, "Did she just call you a dragon?" "She wishes," I say. Ava continues, voice syrupy sweet. "Some have tried to claim ownership over something meant to bring people joy, but Bramble & Co. stands by our mission, to make artistry accessible," May whispers. "That's preamble for the injunction announcement." I take a step forward. "Ari," May warns. Too late. I'm walking through the crowd, rebel burst box in hand. Cameras pivot, capturing the motion like a slow explosion. Ava lowers her mic. "Arielle, here to join us?" Her tone drips with faux magnanimity. "Actually," I say, voice steady, "I'm here to correct you." There's a murmur. Phones rise. Liv starts streaming live behind me. Ava folds her arms. "You've had your say online. This isn't the place." "This is exactly the place," I say. "You built a stage to celebrate something you stole. So, let's talk about where it came from." I open the box and hold up a rebel burst. It gleams pink and wild under the lights. "This is mine." A swirl that leans left because my hand shakes when I pipe too long. A curd that bleeds because real fruit doesn't care about your brand palette. A recipe that took years, not meetings. The crowd hushes. Even the rain pauses. Ava's PR smile trembles. "We're not here to debate originality." "Then what are you here for?" I ask. "Profit? Control? To trademark someone else's heartbeat?" She lifts her chin. "To elevate small creators to a bigger platform. With your cooperation, you could have been part of this." "I already am," I say, as the cautionary tale. There's a wave of cheers, sharp and fast. Cameras flash. Ava gestures to someone offstage, a man in a navy suit carrying a folder. "The lawyer." He steps up to the mic. "Effective immediately," he announces. "Bramble & Co. has filed a federal injunction against Miss Sun, prohibiting her from producing or selling any baked goods under the name Sunburst, Rebel Burst, or any derivative term implying relation to our Aurora Bites." Gasps ripple through the crowd. May strides forward. "Filed doesn't mean granted. You can't enforce what you don't own." The lawyer adjusts his tie. "Pending judicial review, we have grounds." "No," May snaps. "You have gall." The audience erupts in laughter. Cameras zoom in. I raise my voice, catching the moment. "You can file all the paperwork you want. You can trademark the stars, but you can't own people's stories, and mine's not for sale." Applause breaks out. Reporters surge closer. Someone chants, "Let her bake," and others pick it up until the air vibrates. Ava's mic screeches as feedback howls, perfect metaphor. Liv hands me a rebel burst, and without hesitation, I step onto the stage beside Ava. Security tenses but doesn't move. I hold the cupcake high. If anyone here wants to taste the difference between art and algorithm, I'm right over there. The crowd cheers like thunder. Bramble's stage lights flicker from the rain. Someone somewhere starts a chant. "Sun and spoon." Sun and spoon. Ava's composure cracks. You're trespassing, she says, voice low and shaking. Leave now, or we'll have you removed. I look her dead in the eye. Go ahead. See how that looks on the evening news. For a second, we stand there, corporate polish against kitchen grit, two sides of the same American dream turned dual. Then Ava turns to the lawyer. Cut the feed! The massive LED screens go black. Cameras flash anyway. The internet, once again, doesn't wait for permission. By afternoon, number Let Her Bake trends worldwide. Clips of my speech loop with headlines calling it Cupcake Gate. Late-night hosts joke about it. Food bloggers declare boycotts. Inside the bakery, chaos tastes like sugar. Lines down the block, volunteers handing out free samples. Local musicians playing in the rain. Felix from the print shop shows up again, holding new boxes. The updated print reads, "They tried to silence a baker. Instead, they fed a movement." I laugh until my throat hurts. Then my phone buzzes unknown number. Hello? A smooth male voice answers. Miss Sun, this is Jonathan Pierce. I represent several independent restaurant groups, and we're very interested in partnering with you for a nationwide pop-up series. I blink. I'm being sued. Public sympathy beats lawsuits, he says. Call me when you're ready to build an empire. I hang up before I can say something reckless. Liv catches my expression. Good news? Potentially dangerous, I say. Sounds like all your good news lately. By evening, the bakery is nearly empty again. The crowd has drifted home. The rain's a whisper. May sits at a table, laptop open, reading updates. Their injunction is collapsing. The metadata leak destroyed their timeline. They're scrambling. I lean against the counter, exhaustion settling like flour dust. So, we won? Not yet, she says. They still have resources. You have momentum. That's not the same as victory. I nod slowly. Then, we keep going. Liv packs leftover rebel bursts into boxes for the homeless shelter down the street. Mason hums softly, wiping counters. The quiet feels earned. Then the front door creaks. A single figure stands there, hood up, dripping from the rain. Ava. Her mascara's streaked, her composure's gone. May I come in? She asks. May rises, wary. You shouldn't be here without counsel. I'm not here as Bramble, Ava says softly. I'm here because I'm done. She steps inside, closing the door behind her. The bell sounds like punctuation in a confession. I didn't start this, she says, voice trembling. I pitched an idea for a tropical cupcake. Marketing stole yours before I even knew your name. By the time I realized, it was too late. They made me the face of it. I study her, searching for cracks between guilt and manipulation. Then why keep pushing it? I ask. Why threaten me? Because I had a mortgage, she says simply. Because they told me if I didn't, they'd bury me too. She looks down. They're preparing to spin this. They'll paint you as unhinged, say you endangered staff, made false claims, doctored evidence. May snorts. Classic. Ava meets my eyes. They're also planning to file a fraud claim tomorrow morning, say your video was staged. I've seen the internal memo. My stomach drops. They'll fake evidence? She nods. Yes, and they'll win the narrative unless you move first. How? I ask. She pulls a flash drive from her coat pocket and sets it on the counter. Internal footage, emails, timestamps. Proof that they took your recipe, renamed it, and ordered the cease and desist before production even started. I stare at the tiny drive like it's radioactive. Why give this to me? Her voice cracks. Because I can't sleep anymore. And because I saw your live stream. You looked free. She backs toward the door. Do what you want with it, but be careful, they'll come for you hard when this drops. She leaves before I can respond. The door closes, and for a long time, no one speaks. Liv breaks the silence. Is it weird that I kind of feel bad for her? Only human, May says. I pick up the flash drive. It's cold in my palm. May looks at me. If what's on there is real, it could end Bramble for good. And start something bigger, I say. I glance at the dark window. Across the street, Bramble's tent is gone, folded up overnight like it never existed. But I know better. Machines don't die quietly. I pocket the flash drive. Tomorrow morning, we go public. Liv grins, tired but fierce. And then what? Then, I say, we find out what happens when truth trends harder than money. Outside, lightning flashes again, reflected in the glass cases like promise. Because this isn't just about cupcakes anymore. It's about who gets to own a dream. I didn't sleep again. Maybe I've forgotten how. It's 4:12 a.m. when I finally sit at the kitchen counter with my laptop and the flash drive Ava left. The bakery is dark except for one overhead bulb and the rain stuttering against the glass. I plug it in. A folder pops up, Aurora Internal. Subfolders, concepts, development, marketing, legal. May sits beside me, coffee in hand, face illuminated by the screen. You ready? No, I say, clicking concepts. But that's never stopped me. There they are, photos of my sunburst cupcakes, lifted straight from my TikTok. Same angle, same background tile. Notes scribbled, change name. Reduce glitter for shelf stability. Guava? Maybe yuzu for cost? May exhales, smoking gun. We open legal. Emails between Ava and Bramble's executives scroll by subject lines like Arielle Sun, video timeline, and push, cease and desist before she can react. There's even one from the CEO himself. She's small, she'll cave or settle. File first, brand later. I stare at that line until my vision blurs. May, I whisper, they built the entire thing around crushing me. She nods grimly. And now, we make them choke on it. By 8 a.m. Liv's setting up the cameras again. Mason brings in coffee and a playlist that starts with Fleetwood Mac's The Chain. Ro hangs a handmade banner in the window. Number Bake Back Live, 9 a.m. This isn't just a statement, it's a broadcast. We go live across every platform we can reach. I stand in front of the counter, flash drive between my fingers. My heart feels like a batter bowl, messy, overmixed, unstoppable. Hi, I say, voice soft but certain. I'm Arielle, again. I pause. The chat floods with hearts. You followed me through the chaos, the lawsuits, the lies. Today I'm showing you what Bramble never wanted you to see. I tilt the camera down to the laptop screen. The emails, the screenshots, the timelines. Proof that Bramble & Co. didn't just copy me, they coordinated it. May explains the legal context off camera, calm and precise. I show the recipe notes side by side. And then I read that CEO line aloud. She's small. She'll cave or settle. The silence after is deafening. I look into the camera. I didn't cave, and I'm not small anymore. None of us are. The livestream explodes, hundreds of thousands of viewers, comments flying faster than we can read. Journalists hop into the chat asking for statements. Bakers across the country start posting their own stories under the hashtag number #BakeBack. A movement catches fire. By noon, every major outlet has picked up the story. CNN, BuzzFeed, even the New York Times headline reads, "Cupcake giant accused of exploiting independent baker. Community rallies behind Arielle Sunday." May's phone rings nonstop, with offers law firms, PR consultants, investors. At 2, I get a call from an unfamiliar number. "Miss Sun?" A male voice, tight, corporate, exhausted. "This is Gregor Lane, CEO of Bramble & Co. I think it's time we talk." I glance at May, who mouths, "Record it." "Talk about what?" I ask. "About resolving this before it becomes unrecoverable." "It already is," I say. He sighs. "Our board wants to issue a public apology and negotiate compensation. You'll receive full credit for product development, royalties, and an NDA?" I cut in. Silence. Then, "That's standard practice." "I don't do standard anymore," I say. "You don't get to buy silence with royalties." "Miss Sun." I hang up. May grins. "That's going to make a great ending quote." "Not yet," I say. "We're not done baking." That night, the bakery overflows again. People come not just to buy cupcakes, but to bring stories. Musicians play in the corner. Kids draw swirls on paper and tape them to the walls. Someone hands me a note. You made us believe small doesn't mean powerless. Liv leans on the counter, eyes misty. You realize you started a food revolution, right? Feels more like a bake sale on fire, I joke. But when I step outside and see the crowd spilling into the street, candles glowing, people chanting, "Let her bake" in the drizzle, it hits me. This is bigger than me. Across the street, Bramble's windows are dark. Their tent is gone for good. For the first time in months, I let myself breathe. And just as I'm about to head inside, a message notification pops on my phone from Ava. They're dismantling the brand. Legal fallout incoming. Thank you for doing what I couldn't. I smile, small and tired. Then I type back. You helped too. Rest now. The next morning, news breaks. Bramble's executives have resigned. The company issues a public statement admitting fault, vowing to restructure. They'll pay damages, they'll relabel the product. But it's too late. Bramble is over. Sun and Spoon stands taller than ever. And for the first time in a long, long time, Portland smells not just like rain, but like justice cooling on a rack. 6 months later, the rain still visits Portland like an old friend. But when it does, it smells like citrus and rebellion. Sun and Spoon is no longer a small bakery wedged between a record shop and a tattoo studio. It's the heart of something new. Every month, we host the Real Recipe Market, a pop-up festival for independent bakers and small creators. No corporate sponsors, just stories on boxes, names on labels, and a line that snakes down the block. There's music, laughter, flour in the air like confetti. The walls are covered in framed photos from those first chaotic weeks. Me on a milk crate, the candlelit counter, the handwritten boxes. People still come in and ask for the cupcake, the sunburst. I kept the name. Bramble's injunction collapsed, their trademarks voided. The name came home. Sometimes, I catch someone reading the story printed on every box, the original one. The one that says, who I am, and what it took. They read it, smile, and look up like they understand something about resilience. And that means more than royalties ever could. One afternoon, I get a letter, handwritten, no return address. Inside, a check small, symbolic, and a note. For legal fees. Consider it restitution. Ava. I tear up. Just a little, and slip it into the tip jar. Liv rolls her eyes when she sees it. You're supposed to deposit that, boss. Already did, I say. Just not the way she expected. Juno's article later wins a journalism award. May opens her own firm, specializing in protecting small creators. Rose starts a tattoo fund for women entrepreneurs. Mason releases a vinyl titled Cupcake Riot, all proceeds to local bakeries. And me? I still wake up before dawn, still mix butter and sugar by hand sometimes, just to remember where it started. Still pipe that left-leaning swirl that's mine and mine alone. But now, when I look up, I see a dozen bakers doing the same, each with their own swirl, their own story. People ask if I ever forgave Bramble. Forgiveness, I think, is like baking. You can't rush it, you can't fake it, and sometimes, you just let the heat do its work, until what's left is something sweeter than you expected. So, maybe someday, I'll forgive them, but I'll never forget them, because forgetting means it could happen again. And I built a whole movement so no one else would have to fight this hard for their own recipe. The camera pans out. The bakery is full of light. Customers chatter. The mixer hums its steady rhythm. And in the window, painted in gold across the glass, the words shimmer through the morning fog. Sun and Spoon baked with fury, frosted with hope. I smile as I pipe the final swirl on a fresh tray of sunbursts, the curd gleaming like sunrise. This, I whisper to myself, is how you serve revenge, sweet, warm, and shared. Because revenge was never about destruction. It was about creation. About taking what was stolen and turning it into something the world could taste and remember. I box the cupcakes, slide them across the counter to a customer who says softly, I saw your video back then. You changed everything. Maybe I did. Or maybe we all did together. Either way, the world tastes a little fairer now, and I'm still here, still baking, still fighting with frosting. Because sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is refuse to stop creating.